Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer Podcast coming back at you after a brief little hiatus thanks to the Easter, well, not Easter, forgive me, for the spring break that some of us were sort of gallivanting around. I myself was in Europe. I was even at the San Siro watching Inter Milan against Atalanta, which was very entertaining and a lifelong bucket list memory ticked off. But here we are, back at it in an international break with an international break episode special, as always with the Hooligan, who is, well, I think he's been missing me and missing sort of being able to mix it up and chop it up here on this show as well. Or no, you've been sort of busy.
I missed the banter, but the actual banter sparring partner, I don't know, man. I often think as many people do, and it's like maybe I can do better, but no. It's good to have you back, Gary. Thank you for returning from Italy, where the food is cheap, plentiful, and the wine is intoxicating. Yeah, I don't understand how you guys could have had a spring break without spring, but hey, things are done differently down in Tejas, I suppose.
Things are done very differently as well, which is also quite nice as well, because you're not stuck in the usual sort of school seasonality of it as well. So
I guess
it was fun.
spring break and spring break out in my neck of the woods is next week, right? Which is at least then technically still spring, and sometimes they call it Easter break, but now I think it's just the preferred term is just
spring. Break. That also moves. Easter moves around as well, doesn't it? As well, sort of.
It does. As with all good holidays, as with all good religious holidays, if it's not on a lunar calendar, just what exactly is it that you're doing there? It's got to be, is it? A little flexible. Keep it interesting.
Exactly. And of course, as always, please go check us out on hooligan-soccer.com as well to go and check out all the musings, ramblings. We keep adding on new creators, new journalists, new writers, new articles, new insights. It's growing, it's booming. The numbers keep on going up and to the right, which is very enthusiastic as well. But today we are in that sort of thankfully, well, when I say thankfully, let me rephrase that. There is an international break. And normally...
There is an international break, yeah.
Normally, I am not a fan of the international breaks because they come at just when the seasons are getting started, when things are getting interesting with the Champions League and all the rest of it, and we roll our eyes and go, these goddamn international breaks. However, speaking about moving around calendars and moving around religious celebrations, we are going to get into this international break, which is going to be deciding a number of final entrants into this summer's World Cup coming up.
And we're going to break it in. To be precise.
Exactly. Going to get into that, chop it up, break it down. And also as well, we're going to try and unwrap some hypothetical situations because of all the geopolitical stuff that's going on in the Middle East and the conflicts as well. It's going to be an interesting time inside of FIFA. And I am fascinated to see what kind of reverse contortion these guys are able to pull off and be able to get out of this sort of trouble situation where they're bound by their own rules, plus sort of the pressure and the pressure from sort of all the different sort of, various states and confederations as well. So
true.
Let's get into it. So, Hooligan, we're recording this on Tuesday, 24th of March. We have got basically these final... There's a whole bunch of friendly games as well. I'm not interested in those. They're kind of pre-World Cup warm-up matches as well. That's absolutely fine. But what we do want to get into is breaking down who's going to be sort of how the pathway of if we're able to get... who are we going to get into the World Cup, obviously, with the UEFA standings, because there's about, as you say, 6 places that are still undecided, which is also making it a little bit difficult for all of us who want to go to some of the games to go and actually buy tickets because you don't know who you're going to be playing or what games you're going to be able to potentially see, which is there. And I suspect it's holding back the last wave of sort of like demand for sort of, ticketing as well in terms of sort of what's going on. So this is the first time in my memories, correct me if I'm wrong, where all teams have been decided this late in the game. Basically, we will know on March 31st who are the final attendees in the World Cup and who are the actual sort of countries representing. I don't think it's ever been this close. It's normally, that's what, like 3 months before? It's not normally, right?
No, but then again, as we know, this World Cup is exceptional in a number of different ways because they've decided to expand the pool. And with the expanded pool, they took this opportunity to layer in yet more games, right? Whether that be on the federation level, because UEFA did this to themselves, right? They probably could have arranged the structure so that everybody was qualified within that very short qualification window that they had last year, they probably could have done it that way. They could have just said the next 4 third-place teams in the division by points get in. They could have done that.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, and that was a choice. That was a choice that UEFA made. They said, hey, no, let's actually have another second round to whittle down 16 teams into, take the third place teams and give them an opportunity to compete, to take the last 4 spots.
Yeah, I wonder.
Listen, I'm not gonna. I don't want to judge. Was it the right thing? Was it not the right thing? From a player's, from a player perspective, right? The international break was going to happen. If you were going to get a call up, you were going to get a call up, and they were going to have friendlies. Well, these 16 teams don't have friendlies. They have blood matches. Okay. These are gladiatorial combat. The last one stands. It's, I mean, it's not calm or refreshing for these players at all. I think the one group that doesn't like it, the clubs who have, players who are called up into one of these 16 national teams, they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity for injury and fatigue is going to be immense.
It's there. And it's
you have to put everything on the line for your country, right? It's like you don't get to wear the country's kit unless you're willing to go out and put everything on the line. Well, that is directly at odds with whatever the club wants you to do, which is come out of the international break, hopefully not too tired and without an injury. So those two things are mutually antagonistic.
I do wonder so you're saying because of the pathway qualification on the UEFA side, I do wonder, we have been espousing how for the last 2 seasons, how UEFA have done a very good job of restructuring, particularly the UEFA Champions League, and making it more engaging and more entertaining. And also, there are more games, there are more competition as well,
and also more exhausting. I mean, that's
exactly
the consequence, right?
Already an extended extended season where there's always lots of complaints about too many games and match fatigue as well. So I think part of also why we decided to do this as well is, as we were discussing yesterday, is like, what the hell is going on? Because I still am not quite clear on sort of what's going on. How the hell does this work? There's coefficients, there's pathway A, B, C, D, and then there's a whole other category as well. But we'll get into that as well. So
we're going to get into that. So let me just put it out to you.
Explain it. Yeah, please do.
There are 16 teams, right? So there were 16 teams that did not make it through the normal UEFA qualifying, right? If we remember, there were lots
groups
and lots of groups. Right? There was groups A through L that went in, right? That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 different groups. 24 of those teams qualified. The first and second place finishers automatically qualified. UEFA has 16 slots for the World Cup. Okay, so what do you do with the next 4? Like I said, they could have taken the next 4 third place finishers by points and just pushed them through and said, thank you very much.
Like the best third places,
They didn't do that, right? Yeah. So let's go through and take all the runners up, the third place teams from all those groups, and put them into a big old, battle royale.
Got it.
Yippity skippity. Great.
Okay.
Right?
Wow. Yeah.
Now, we're not going to get into Nations League or any of that other crap because it's all just distraction. The only thing that matters is you've got 16 teams and they're put into 4 different pathways, and there will be 2 games, and the winner of those 2 games then go on to the final, and the winner of the final goes to the World Cup. It's that simple.
Okay, so 2 games,
it's
win both of them.
And you're in, and it's lose, go home.
That's it. Okay. So breaking down that, so there's, just looking at this, so there's pathway A. So basically you have all of these, there's 4 13-place teams who are going to be playing against each other. So my understanding, and then it's just 1 game. So for example, the first game that I'm looking at is Wales against Bosnia-Herzegovina, played in Cardiff. Right. So who determined, or do you know how it determined who got to play at home or not? Because obviously there was a bit of an advantage. I believe that was done
based upon the points ranking of the finisher
in the group.
So they did actually. What they did is they took all of the 16 teams and they looked at their points and they put them into pots, and then they drew everything out. And the team with the higher ranking got the home advantage. So, for example, Wales was in pot 2. Bosnia was in pot 3. They drew each other. Wales, as the higher ranked team, because they're 32nd according to FIFA's ranking, got to be home. Italy drew Northern Ireland. Italy's higher ranked, they get home. So that's how that worked. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So we got Wales playing Bosnia Herzegovina, and I mean
Herzegovina.
Herzegovina. Forgive my.
Yeah, there's another syllable in there because it's just not long enough.
I apologize to the beautiful nation of Bosnia and Herzegovina,
which is why I generally just say Bosnia, because it's a lot easier. And I recognize that the poor Herzegovinians are probably angry at me, but mea culpa.
Interesting thing. Bosnia on the coast, but landlocked by Croatia. If you notice, is that very slither of Croatia as well that makes Bosnia landlocked as well, which is interesting.
It's a matter of some debate. Yes,
it is. So you've got Wales against
outstanding skiing in Bosnia too, by the way.
you got Wales against Bosnia, and then you've got Italy, who surprisingly who have won the Euros pretty recently, and normally are sort of like a very, very strong sort of footballing nation. Obviously didn't do so well, are playing Northern Ireland as well. There's going to be a banana skin in somewhere of these. This is not going to be a straightforward game, right? This is not going to be straightforward.
There's nothing simple or easy about any of this. It is truly in any given Saturday scenario, right? Which is why predicting this, I mean, I can't even really do it. Should Italy beat Northern Ireland? Absolutely. 9 times out of 10. I'd say that for Italy, it is not a cakewalk, but a predetermined, their predetermined fate. But no, not in this scenario, right? You don't know what any one of these teams is capable of in these moments.
If you're Northern Ireland, it's like, guys, give it fucking everything as well. See if we can sort of take this to extra time penalties, and then you've got Wales or Bosnia waiting for you, and then you're potentially in the World Cup, right? So
absolutely, you've got to like this.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pathway.
and if you're looking at path A, the likely scenario I see is Wales beats Bosnia, Italy beats Northern Ireland, and the two go after each other, and that would be in Italy because again, Italy's the higher ranked team. So so Wales would not be allowed to. They wouldn't be able to host 2 in a row.
Okay, interesting.
Italy would.
Now, Italy. So hang on, wait. Here's another thing. Now, just looking at this pathway, so I see that Wales get the home advantage and they're playing in Cardiff. Italy get the home advantage as well, and they're playing in Bergamo. But then they go through to then the final. So whoever wins of Wales Bosnia goes through to play the winner of Italy or Northern Ireland. But yet, the 2 possible venues for this one, and this is where it gets a little bit funny, and all of a sudden this is where we get into sort of the weird sort of machinations of it, is the final will all either be played at Cardiff or in Zenica in Bosnia.
Sorry, that's my bad. I mistook. So Zenica. Okay, so then Wales and Bosnia apparently have the home field all the way through. So no, there will be. Okay. Well, so the winner of Wales and Bosnia hosts both.
Well, but no, that's not true because Wales.
I pride myself on geography, and I screwed up there.
No. Well, because you're right, because Bosnia have to go to Cardiff. So supposing they win, then they get the home field advantage, right? So they'll play away and then home. But if you're on the other end of the bracket and you're Italy, you get home and then you get away. And then if you're Northern Ireland, you're fucked anyway. Basically, you're away. So you basically got it really stacked up against you as well. So that's
true. Interesting. I didn't catch that one because I mistook Zenica. I thought that was somewhere in Italy. That's my bad.
No, that's in Bosnia. Yeah,
I was confusing Roman Empire with Italy again, which sometimes I will do.
Yeah. Wait till we get to path B, because now this is where it starts to get really fun and complicated as well. So now
there must have been some other. So my previous statement about higher ranked teams, I do believe that is still applicable for the first round.
Well, I'm assuming
that is still there for the first round, but
then. Does that mean then that you're telling me that Wales are a higher ranked team than Italy?
No, but I'm making a correction to my previous statement. For the first round semifinals, I believe that the ranking was what is used for
the home. Yeah.
For the home or the pots. Either way, it reflects ranking. But the second, there's some other determination. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea
This is why we've had to sort of
where the second one is.
And this is exactly why I've said we've had to have this episode, because like we are across this. This is our jobs in a way. We're across this, and I still don't understand it. It's very, very confusing. It really is.
Yeah. And I don't know, but whoever got into that top, right?
Yeah.
Part of the path.
Yeah.
Gets the, they get the home field advantage. And so that's got to be something. It's either got to be pot related.
Yeah.
But it's reflective of some kind of ranking, but it's a ranking that was done in something with the pots and the draws.
And this is where they start using words like coefficients and sort of, and it suddenly gets very, very confusing for the layman as well. And it's very, very confusing.
I was really hoping that we would go through this podcast without that word, but okay.
What, coefficient or layman? Coefficient or layman or both?
No, coefficient.
It's coming.
I have nothing wrong. I have got nothing wrong with layman.
There's at least one
We're
of us
lame
on this
men,
show, that's for sure.
that
Yes. So, okay. Now this is where it starts to get even stickier. Okay. Path B. Okay. Now we're sort of touching into the geopolitical side. So because you have Ukraine playing against Sweden, and then in the other side of the bracket, you have Poland against Albania. And of course, because of the war going on in Ukraine, and Ukraine are the higher ranked team than Sweden, they get to host. But obviously, they're not hosting any games in Poland, in Ukraine at the moment, or in Kyiv, or any of the other sort of Polish.
No, they're doing in Valencia.
Valencia, in Spain.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so Ukraine, and then they will then go on and play, and the winners of that game end up going and playing Poland or Albania, which will be a fiercely good match as well. That's going to be an interesting one.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think the Ukraine-Sweden match
will be a good game as well.
Is delicious.
And
for Sweden and Ukraine, that's great because everybody will be in blue and yellow. So
yes, this is true.
That's good.
That would be that.
Right,
okay, and then of course the final, and then the final of Ukraine-Sweden, or the winner of Ukraine-Sweden against Poland and Albania, will either be hosted in Valencia, which is Ukraine's new home, or in Solna, which will be in Sweden if Sweden get through and Sweden defeat them as well.
Right.
So yeah, okay. So we're unpacking that, making a little bit more sense there as well. Okay, and so then we go into pathway C, and so this one seems to make a little bit more sense. So you've got Slovakia against Kosovo.
Kosovo, that's right.
Okay. And then in the other bracket, outside of the bracket, which, this is a goodie. Turkey against Romania. Oh my God, this is.
Really, Turkey and Romania, I find so interesting because they are World Cup staples. I mean, these are teams that they were almost always qualifying in years and decades past for World Cups.
Yeah.
As other countries have stepped up their game, Romania and Turkey are now in the point where they're no longer guaranteed qualifiers. I think for myself, Turkey's got such great young players. I'd really like to see Turkey in the World Cup.
Yeah, agreed.
But from a talent perspective, I would really like to see Turkey at the biggest stage, but they're going to have to earn their way in. They obviously didn't do it in qualification, right? And let's also not forget, going back to Pappy, Sweden just had one of the most historically catastrophic qualifications of their entire history. They didn't win a game.
And to solve their problems, they've decided to appoint Graham Potter as their manager. And so Graham Potter is the manager of Sweden. So the people of Sweden, and particularly my dear friend Ulof,
I'd normally say good luck with that, but Graham actually got them. He actually got them to win a couple other things. So he's done okay, but
who
knows?
The people of Sweden and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Graham Potter, the face of your country rests on Graham Potter's strategic mindset. So I hope he's got something up there as well.
Zlatan doesn't manage; he's too intuitive.
Zlatan wills; he wills it over. Okay, and then going through pathway D. Okay, and okay, so this one's a little bit, and then we've got the Czech Republic against the Republic of Ireland, which also is an amazing lineup. Can you imagine? Match. So here's two interesting statistics. You've got Republic of Ireland, of course. We know sort of how famous the Irish are for sort of enjoying a drink, as it were, whether it would be Guinness or whiskey or anything else as well. And then you have hosted by the Czech Republic. And Czech Republic,
There'll be a lot of lager. There'll be a lot of, well, actually, excuse me. There'll be a lot of Pilsner consumed.
Pilsner. There'll be a lot
of Pilsner consumed prior to that game, yes.
Czech Republic, and I know this because obviously my wife's family is Czech, so we have connections there as well. And I'll say that the Czech Republic consumes more beer per capita, or more Pilsner per capita than any other nation in the world. And then they have the Irish coming over as well. So you can imagine what an absolute party Prague must be on Thursday. That is going to be absolutely wild and absolutely fun.
I would have, I mean, if somebody was to say, hey, Hooligan, you got to go over there and cover that game, I'd be like, oh, twist my arm. I would be there in a heartbeat. Yeah,
we really missed a trick there on that one as well. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, there's actually some really good games going on here as well. Okay, and then the final of that,
they're all good. That's the thing that is so. That's what makes it so.
This is going to be interesting, yeah, and all to play for.
That's what makes it so thrilling in a way. Yeah. This is in a sport that has become, commoditized and, and fetishized over, and in some cases distilled into, just a mechanical action in some in some cases.
Yeah.
Games like this can remind you that, no, there's a lot on the line. It's the same thing with the Champions League. Like when it gets to single elimination, it's real.
Well, this
matters to the. I mean, this is super important, and so yeah.
And this is where this is where I'm thinking about it as we pull it apart. And as I say, so UEFA coming off the back of having sort of restructured the Champions League and the other European competitions. But if you recall, that Champions League final day of that group stages, where it is true jeopardy of seeing who survives and who doesn't. Do you think they've kind of looked at that and said, let's try and recreate that on the international stage, and then that's why they've kind of contorted and structured this format in a way?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's unlike. I mean, the two games. My understanding is the two games they have to be played at the same time to prevent any gamesmanship, right? So, and or allocations of throwing a game or trying to get a specific result. So no, they're not really. I don't think that's what they're doing, but they are holding all the game. Not all the games are being held at the same time, though. For example, the Turkey game, owing to the fact that Turkey is in a different time zone,
it's like three time zones.
Kick off earlier than the Slovakia-Kosovo game.
Okay.
Because really, when it comes down to it, what does it matter? You have to win. It's not like by throwing the game you gain anything.
Yeah,
you don't.
Yeah.
You lose, you're out.
The Turkey game. The Turkey game is the only one played early, and then all the other games are all the other games are going on at the same time as well. So that makes sense because you have the Turks would be pretty late, and then the final game on the other side.
Your slot into the World Cup has already been predetermined as well, right?
Yeah,
so
it's true.
You know your result doesn't get you a better. It's not like you can get into a better group in the World Cup if you do better in this tournament. It's already decided. Yeah. You know who it is that you're going to play.
Yeah, you know who's waiting for you as well. Exactly. Right. Yeah, that's right. And then then just to obviously sort of not to sort of be accused of sort of missing out on one. And then the other side of that bracket of the pathway D, Czech against Republic of Ireland. You've got Denmark against
it's Denmark versus North Macedonia.
Macedonia, which will be interesting. And again, of course, the final will be played in Prague.
Another team that despite its small size punches far above its weight. Right, North Macedonia is no pushover. They're good. They're a good squad. Same thing with Kosovo. Right? These are for one, they're countries that didn't exist 10 years ago,
20 years ago. Yeah,
right?
they didn't exist.
So
it was. Yeah,
they're all, they're all, newly constructed, but they have within them the DNA of those strong Yugoslavian sides, right? That could pick the best from among all those countries. And compete, all of whom are solid.
Okay. So all of those games are being played on Thursday, and then the final knockout games will be played on the 31st, which I believe is a Tuesday. I think it's on a Tuesday. So we're getting a Thursday, Tuesday Jeopardy round. So it does make it actually very, very exciting. And as we said, I mean, the Republic of Ireland, I really hope Ireland get through, because the Irish in the US will just make, again, we've got to start thinking now in terms of like suddenly, because we've got this festival coming as well. I know there's all this sort of negativity around it. And as we've discussed this through the Club World Cup, through all this, there's always negativity. When the first ball is kicked, suddenly it becomes no work is going to get done in this country or Canada or Mexico for that period of the month while the game is on. But
Yeah.
you really,
No, it's a lost month.
You almost want the Irish in the US, particularly if they're playing on the East Coast as well, in Boston and New York as well. That will be absolutely fantastic. I haven't checked to sort of see where they are. And then looking at it, I mean, Turkey, Romania, of course, that would be fantastic. I mean, Ukraine, Sweden as well
They're
would
all
be
good.
wonderful. Poland as well. Oh, they're
There
all good.
is
Yeah.
no no game
Mhm. Or no
in
country,
this
right?
fixture that is that doesn't have value.
There's
That
going to be
isn't
surprises.
like important. That isn't going to end up being, I think, a tight match.
Fear
They're all
for
good.
Italy, hey? I fear for Italy, hey? I just have a gut feeling I don't think Italy will get all the way through.
Listen, I'm the same way. I think that Italy, they have perhaps dug their own grave here.
Yeah. Well, let's
And I
see.
can tell you that it would be a massive inquest if they decide, if they don't make it, that the press will literally crucify every player's performance, the coach, the trainer, the kitman, the person who made the team meal. They're all going to be, mercilessly, brutalized.
Exactly. Okay, this is true. Okay, so that's the UEFA pathway A to D, and getting in those sort of plus 4, and so we're still remaining. There's 2 more, and then there's another twist to this as well. So now
that
the way
is the interconfederation playoffs.
Okay, which means go on, break this down for us, Hooligan.
So the interconfederation playoffs take the remaining 5 confederations. That's Asia, Africa, South America, North America, and Oceania. So those 5 confederations get to send teams to Mexico for a mini tournament to determine the next 2 players. So you're going, why Mexico? That doesn't make any sense. Well, it does, in the sense that they're actually doing test runs on 2 stadiums to sort of see if they can handle crowds. It's a test run for FIFA and for the World Cup, in some cases.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it has been reported to me that those games are all sold out. Every single game that they're holding is sold out because the tickets were put at a very low $10 American.
Okay.
And so they sold out like fast.
Yeah.
FIFA should take note of that. It's a brilliant marketing move and a brilliant technique on their end. So people who can do math, and our listeners are very smart, will go, well, if there's going to have 2 teams go in, don't they need 6 teams to sort of compete? Because 5 teams can't play for 2 spots. It doesn't work out, that math. You're right. As the host federation, CONCACAF gets 2 teams. There you go. So this is how it's going to play out. 2 teams, the 2 teams with a higher ranking, FIFA coefficient, there's that word again, get buys.
Okay.
And in this case, it is the Democratic Republic of Congo, who is Africa's representative, and Iraq, who is Asia's representative. Those 2 only play in the final.
They get there. Okay. All right.
There is a semifinal match on Thursday that will feature Jamaica, which is one of CONCACAF's 2, and New Caledonia, which is Oceania's.
The tiny little island north of New Zealand.
It is not north. It is because everything is north of New Zealand. Yes,
forgive me. East of Queensland. It's east of Queensland.
It is north and west. It is north and west of New Zealand. It is off the coast, off the eastern coast of Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
It is a French dependent territory, and recently just had a little civil war, which was peacefully resolved. It's not really, but it's kind of, so it's used to be at war with each other. Now it's not.
Okay.
They managed to reach the final of the Oceania qualifiers, and they lost
Okay.
to New Zealand, I think 3-0. This was way back in 2024, believe it or not.
Okay.
And but as such, they earned their way into this. So yes, tiny New Caledonia, who do not have a player on their team who plays professionally
I was going to
in
say, they're
any
going to be a bunch
league
of
above
amateurs.
fourth tier. No, it's all amateurs. They're
Oh
all
my God.
amateurs.
Wow.
Get to play Jamaica. And for them, this is it. This is the game of their life, right? This is the highest point of which they'll probably achieve. And I'm excited to watch it. New Caledonia is not the greatest, but I mean, they held New Zealand to 3 goals. They got there for a reason. They beat a Tahiti team, which has been improving steadily. I mean, Oceania doesn't have like the greatest, group of soccer players, but Tahiti's been pretty good, and they've achieved really good things at FIFA youth tournaments.
Yeah.
And they kill it at beach soccer, by the way.
Well, you'd hope
They
so,
do.
yeah.
They're like one of the top ranked beach soccer teams.
Okay.
But so that's good. And then the second semifinal match is Bolivia versus Suriname. This is big news because it's the first time that Suriname has reached an international tournament, that's not one of the CONCACAF tournaments, but it's like a global stage where they can finally go, oh, here we are. I mean, most people wouldn't be able to point Suriname on a map if you gave them $100 and a free beer. And if they did, they'd probably pick the wrong one.
They pick Guyana, or they pick Guyana.
They'd either pick
or
Guyana or French Guiana because it's in between the two of them.
It's
but
hard.
Either
it
way,
hard, yeah.
And of course, that's not even begging the fact that it is located on the continent of South America, yet is not a part of the South American CONMEBOL. Don't even get me started on that one. Neither is French Guiana, and neither is Guyana. They're all in CONCACAF.
Oh, make it make sense. This is, oh my God, this is
no. This
really
is geopolitics. This is geopolitics, Gary. All right.
Okay.
Geopolitics at play. But anyway, you've got Bolivia, who is definitely in the South American Conference.
Yes.
Playing Suriname.
And they're both in the South American continent, but in different confederations in a way. So that's why, because that was my first question. Why have you got 2 South American teams? But the answer is they're in different confederations.
Well, you do and you don't. The answer
geographically,
is
yes, but politically, no. Right, yes. Okay,
correct.
Got it.
That's right.
And the winner of those guys then go and face Iraq.
They play Iraq. Yeah,
and they're playing Iraq in Guadalupe, right?
That is correct.
Sold out.
Yes.
And that's sold out.
Yeah, they're both sold out. Yes. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And what's interesting, of course, this is in Monterrey, which is, high. Right. So the Bolivian players, this won't be a problem. It's not as high as La Paz.
Yes.
But for Suriname, right, I'm hoping that they at least got to go there a little bit in advance to get used to the altitude, because it's like 5,000 feet, or my understanding. It's pretty high up there. So and then the winner of New Caledonia and Jamaica gets to play the DR Congo.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Democratic Republic of Congo, as opposed to the other Congo.
Yes.
So
just the straight Congo, yes.
Mm-hmm. But it's
never mind Prague Island. I want to go to let's go down to Monterrey and go watch winner of Bolivia Suriname against Iraq in Monterrey.
I mean,
it could be.
Listen, it's going to be great. No matter what it is, it's going to be good, right?
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Suriname as a nation has never done much in the sport, but Surinamese players are obviously, most Surinamese player, like the vast, a large number of players for the Dutch national team.
Yeah,
have Surinamese origins.
Can think of like Edgar Davids, Patrick Kluivert, Vinters, all of those sort of South American,
Vinters, Ruud Gullit,
all Dutch colonies, and basically the byproducts of that, right?
That's correct. And so so as a nation, though they're very small, right? They do have a proud soccer
good
history,
footballing culture and history. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just you don't get to see it because most of the best players end up
in the Ajax or the Feyenoord Academy. Yeah, they end up in the academies in Feyenoord or Ajax, right? Okay. Okay, so we're already over time, but we're going to keep going because there's another
But you want to
geopolitical
talk
twist
about the
here as
Iran
well.
thing? Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
So because of obviously the last couple of weeks, there's been this little sort of,
Yeah.
there's been a situation going on in Iran, and Iran have qualified already. Now,
Yeah, they have.
at the time of this recording, there is still no final decision. So it could be the case that Iran go through. And if so, that'll be an interesting sort of story unto itself. But what happens? And so if you are FIFA now, you've got basically a map, and I can just imagine Gianni Infantino sitting at the head of the table. There's probably some big sort of like oval table somewhere in sort of, the headquarters of FIFA in Switzerland. And they're saying, guys, what happens if Iran either are not allowed to, decide not to, or for whatever reason just end up not coming? And then the question then is what do they do, and who takes that spot?
Mhm.
Because it gets a little bit confusing, and who do you pick, and sort of how do you do that, right? So what, like, now,
I mean,
first of all, I will say, just to jump in here, is that
Go ahead.
Gianni Infantino, as much as we sort of have sort of opinions of him, I will say that he is a smooth political and diplomatic operator. But whatever you want to say about him, he will find a line and a thread out of this in a way, and spin it in a way. And it'll be some using words like coefficient and rankings and, sort of, blah, blah, blah. And there will be some other sort of, statecrafty sort of words coming in here. But
Yeah.
go for it, Hooligan. So
I think I have more than opinions about him, but you can go to the site and read some stories to know how I feel about
what do you call him? Dr. Evil?
Dr. Evil of FIFA.
You call him Dr. Evil, I believe you call him.
If you're a Game of Thrones fans, he is the spider. He is the spider,
Lord
from
Varys.
From that.
Lord Varys.
You better believe it. He's like a combination of Lord Varys, Dr. Evil, and that big table is just, yeah.
Yeah. And just to interrupt, Mr. Infantino,
yeah.
I do want to let you know that Gary Stryker has not said anything bad against you. So please, FIFA credentials are welcome this way. It is all from the Hooligan as well.
Send
But there
to
we
Gary.
go.
That's okay.
Okay.
Here's my understanding of the scenario. One, there has not been a team that has voluntarily opted out or dropped out of a World Cup once they are qualified since 1950. Okay, that was the last time it happened. So there is no precedent here for what to do. By FIFA's own rules that they've set up, they are only allowed, 48 countries can go. They can't just say, we'll just pick another country. They can only pick a country from the federation by which that the country that leaves Iran is part of Asia Federation, which means that only an Asian team can fill that spot.
By FIFA's rules, right?
And they're going to adhere to those because those are the same rules that they used when they were picking the pots and shifting teams around. That's how Scotland ended up with Brazil again.
Great game, by the way. That's going to be a fantastic game.
Because Scotland was supposed to be in a different group, but because of the rules that there can only be so many teams from so many confederations, and no federation could play each other in a World Cup group phase, except for UEFA, that made everything shift around. So they can't take Iran out and suddenly go, hey, Denmark, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that.
It could Italy, only you didn't qualify, come in. Yeah, they can't.
Yeah, we love you, Italy. Your pasta's good. Come in. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Has to be an Asian team.
Okay.
So then the question goes, well, what do they do? How do they? Well, they already had that. They already made that decision. They had because they had the Asian qualifiers. There was a team that was high ranked enough, but didn't qualify through their normal regimen, and that team is Iraq.
UAE. Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
But if Iraq qualify automatically at this and then Iran pull out, then it suddenly gets a bit more confusing.
So
right?
Here then becomes, well, then what happens with this interconference playoff that we just spent 10 minutes talking about?
Yeah.
The answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
They could allow the winner of that to advance on and then give it to the UAE.
Yeah, okay.
Which is, I believe, the fourth. That is the next ranked team below Iraq in terms of points from the qualifying. So they could do it that way. By the way, that would also satisfy Infantino's love of the whole Middle Eastern Gulf area.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Listen, he lives in Qatar. Everybody knows it's not a secret. Okay. He lives in
We know
Qatar.
this.
His kids are
Yes.
educated in Qatar. So, no, I mean,
Yes.
it is, although they're not there now, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
They're going to be back in Switzerland.
I'm sure back in Switzerland, aren't they? Yes.
So that could be, right. The UAE could make it in that scenario. Iraq could make it through the playoffs. They could also say, but I don't think they will, Iraq qualifies automatically, and then whoever wins between Bolivia and Suriname could make it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that will happen, and here's the reason why. FIFA will wait to decide on Iran's fate from a FIFA perspective until their 76th General Congress. Okay. So FIFA have these congresses every now and again, right? Where they get everybody together in a big room. It's being held in Vancouver on April 30th.
Okay.
And at that conference, they're going to decide what happens with Iran. If Iran continues its posturing and says we're not going to go, which has been their public statement so far, they could decide at that moment to say, okay, you're out, UAE, you're in. At that point, they'll know whether Iraq was in or not.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say magic of my dreams. Let's say Suriname win, they beat Bolivia, and then they play Iraq, and they beat Iraq, and Suriname qualifies. Mm-hmm. They could then say, Iraq, you're the next ranked team, therefore you're in. If Iraq is already in there, they could say UAE, you're already in. Now, the question is whether or not that UAE entry then violates any of their other pot rules. Probably not, because, again, it's an Asian replacement for an Asian replacement. So I think that would totally work. So the likely scenario is it's going to be the winner of the Inter-Confederation playoff, in which the path goes through Iraq, or it's going to be the UAE. But that's your likely scenario.
Okay.
Iraq, Bolivia, Suriname, UAE. Those are the four candidates that you've got.
Okay, those are their options. There is also a crazier option as well that I was just sort of like, going down a dark rabbit hole as well, which is it would be an unprecedented move, but it would not violate any of their the rules for the pots that they have, is that they just reduce Group G to 3 teams.
Greenland? No, they're not going to do that. No, they're not going to do that. They can't do that. That would hit them in the pocketbook.
TV deals and sponsorship and contracts.
That's revenue loss. Yeah. No way.
That's the primary motivator here for everything here, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for the grassroots.
No, I thought you were going to say they were going to let Greenland play, but
no, I wasn't going to say. No, Greenland didn't even come into my thinking. But
why not? Yeah, they're at least not in any federation at all, so therefore it would be a perfect choice. Let Greenland play.
They would. Yeah. Well. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, Hooligan, thank you for helping.
There was a lot there, ladies and gentlemen, but it was all good.
Thank you for helping break that down and understand it. What is interesting, I'm actually quite excited now for Thursday. Normally, international friendly or fixtures I'm not so up for unless they're major tournaments.
No, you should be excited. Everybody should be excited for this, because there's a lot. There's a lot on the line. And there's going to be a lot of good football, a lot of good soccer.
There's going to be some drama as well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of it as well. There's been some histories. I remember years ago. Do you remember France got into the South African World Cup in 2010? Do you remember Thierry Henry handled the ball in against the Republic of Ireland?
That was the Thierry Henry. He
against
punched
Ireland,
the ball into the net. Yeah.
He punched it in again as well. So there've been all these crazy situations as well that have happened.
That was a type of playoff, but it was.
But it got them into the World Cup, and then if you remember, France went to the World Cup, and then they went on strike. If you remember, they had an argument, and then the whole thing fell apart as well. So it was a whole shit show as well. You can't make this stuff up, right? Truth is crazier than fiction. So yeah, wonderful. Well, Hooligan, we've well into extra time as well, so let's blow the whistle on it there. Okay, so we will be breaking this down as always. Thank you for decoding, deciphering that. But one thing is for sure, FIFA and Mr. Infantino will find a way out of this. Not that they.
There will still be 48 teams.
There will still be 48 teams, and how they do it, they'll spin it in a way. Wonderful, Hooligan. Wonderful. Until next time, thank you.
Peace.